Good morning, everyone. Connie Myers here, and I have another fantastic interview for my Kick Butt Leadership interview series. Kick Butt is when mindfulness meets vision, opportunity, and engagement. And I truly believe my guest today is the epitome of a leader. So this is Ryan Barton. Ryan, thank you so much for joining me.
Hi, Connie. Thank you for having me on your show today.
So Ryan has helped families and individuals overcome challenges and increase their positivity to live more inspiring lives. He uses motivational training combined with outdoor experiences to help his clients connect with nature and each other. He has 6 children and is authoring a children's series, which we'll be talking about here in a minute. So well, first, let me ask you the first question I ask everybody. Were you a leader as a child?
Was I a leader as a child? I did not become a leader, I guess you could say, as a child until I was about 11 years old. Before that, I was pretty much with my dad all the time. But when I was 10, my parents separated, and I moved away with my 2 younger brother and sister. My mom, as a single parent, went back to work and went to school, and I became adult figure in my home, and I cooked meals, I did laundry, and I took my little brother and sister to school every single day and walked my younger sister to her classroom. So I kind of have been, I guess, a leader from about the age of 10 on. And so, yes, I've been a leader as a child.
What is a skill that you learned back then that you still use today?
The biggest skill that I've learned is hard work. Hard work and being positive, no matter what is going on in your life.
Yeah, it's so important. And to be able to learn that at such a young age is such a great thing, you know? So I was born and raised on a farm in Nebraska, and my twin sisters that were 10 years younger than me. So I actually can fairly well relate to your story. I think that's when I became a leader too. Right. Siblings can do that to you.
Make you stand up for them, and so yeah.
So you've had a landscape business for 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
How did you go from landscape to your positive power coaching that you have been doing for a while now?
Why and how did I do that? One of the things that I enjoy more than anything in my landscaping company is watching my employees progress. That is not a long-term job for them. It's maybe 2 to 3 years at the most, and you're talking 18 to 25-year-olds. And I loved to watch them achieve their goals, move forward in their life, and being able to feel successful. So as part of that, I started thinking maybe I could just do this for other people and not just my employees. So I've branched out, I've opened new opportunities, and decided that a positive attitude can help you go farther in life than anything can.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Disappeared. Well, we will. Let me just tell you a little bit about. I've met Ryan through the Speakers Without Borders, and we recently authored a book called Leadership in Trying Times. And I'm looking forward. I'm sure he'll be back on here in a second. I'm looking forward to him sharing a little bit about his chapter in the book. I have only known Ryan, gosh, probably about 4 months now, and find him to be a very inspiring individual. We actually, here he comes now. There we go. Welcome back.
It just turned off.
I don't know what happened, actually. Anyway, so go on and tell us a little bit more about why.
So yeah, just helping my employees, and then just realizing that the positive attitude that that everybody was experiencing was contagious. And so I just set a goal to try and teach people, families and individuals how to do that. And so that's what I've been doing for the last few months, is teaching people the power of positivity and helping them understand that you can only live in the present. You can't worry about the past, or you can't figure out the future because it's unpredictable. You can only live right now.
Well, I loved when I was reading your chapter, the story about the bull. So would you share that with us? And first of all, tell everybody the name of your chapter, because I love that too.
So the name of my chapter was, I just want to make sure it's I Am Enough. I am a believer. I am a cowboy.
I am brave. I'm a cowboy.
I am brave. I am a cowboy.
Sorry, I shouldn't have sprung that on you.
Yeah, I think I could pull that out.
But the title feeds right into the story, so
yes,
I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah. So at a young, very, very young age, I was asked by my dad to go and round up 2 heifers, which are female cows, and a bull that was with them that had gotten left behind when we were rounding up all of the cattle to move them from the summer range to the winter range. And I had a horse named Rusty, and I would ride him all the time. Well, this particular time I got on my horse, saddled him up. And when I say I was at a young age, I want to say 9, 10 years old, and rode across from what we call verdure, across one of the wheat fields, went through a couple of fences, and I got to where the watering hole was, or the reservoir, and there was the 2 heifers and the bull. Now, the heifers weren't a problem. Okay, I could swing around them, and I was really good at it. I loved what I do. My horse and I were connected emotionally, physically. I mean, I could drive and make him do things at 10 years old that people nowadays don't even know how to do. But so I got around them, and I started to push them and get them going down the trail. And then I came back and tried to get the bull going a little bit, and he didn't want to have anything to do with me. Okay, I'm a 10-year-old boy. I probably weighed maybe 80, 90 pounds on the back of this horse that is probably a 1,200 pound animal that feeds off of my emotions. If you know anything about horses, they can tap into your emotions, and they can feel everything that you're feeling. And this 2,000 pound bull looks at me straight in the face, dips his head down, and starts scratching the ground and throwing dust everywhere. And now, because I'm a threat, right? And I was terrified. I knew for sure that, one, he was going to charge. My horse was going to take off running. I was going to fall off, and I was going to die right there. And so I was feeling insecure. I was feeling scared, fear. And I knew that if I didn't get the whole herd, both the heifers and the bull, back to the corral, then my image of what I would call a cowboy would be ruined for life. I was done for. I would not be a real cowboy. So, eventually, through some emotional tools and kind of removing myself from the situation, I was able to figure out how to make it all work, and we made it safely back with all 3 of them, and I was fine. So it was.
And so you stayed a cowboy.
And I'm still a cowboy, and it was super scary, but it worked out for me.
What is a lesson you learned from that, do you think?
The lesson that I learned from that. So to go back into the story a little bit. I actually decided not to drive or not to push the bull. And I just started pushing the heifers. And just like any male figure, he decided to follow his female friends. And so he did. He just followed us the whole way. And so one of the things that I learned from that is there's always another way. There's another possibility. If you just take a minute and evaluate your situation, there's always something else that you can do that would bring you a better outcome. So just because you think you know the right way doesn't mean there's not a better way, or there might be another way. So I've learned to be open to possibilities that can happen anywhere, anytime.
Well, one of the things that, so Ryan hosted a 2-day summit just last week for our Speakers Without Borders Speakers Bureau. And I have to tell you, Ryan, I was so impressed with how you interacted and how you did such a fabulous job hosting that and helping all of the different guests that came on, including me. You know, it was a really great conversation, every one of them. And so well, I'm sure we're going to be able to offer that out to people here again soon. But
Yep.
I think your empathy is the one thing that came across the most. And I think maybe that comes from that experience, being able to, you know, my guess is you kind of stopped and paused and said, okay, what am I going to do now? And before you've just figured out, oh, I'm just going to start keeping the heifers going. But so before when we talked yesterday, you mentioned that part of the reason you started coaching was to really help families and tragic events, and you mentioned suicide. And so I decided to look up and find out how much suicide has increased, because you had talked about it increasing.
Yep.
And the statistic I found is from the American Psychological Association that says that since 2002 to 2016, there was a 30% increase in suicides. And I also read another article, and they didn't really give an exact percentage because I don't think they really know yet of how much COVID-19 is going to increase that number. Why do you think that is? And what do you think can be done about it?
So we as human beings, we are designed to have interaction. We need people. We need to feel each other's energy. We need to feel each other's love and compassion. That's why, you know, we are set up in a family unit, because we need to be there for each other. COVID-19 has done a couple of things. One, it's separated us from society. It has caused everybody to be distant and to be cold. The masks, we can no longer see a smile on each other's faces. You know, you walk into Walmart, Target, any of these retail places, and you just walk in and everybody is just stonewalled. Nobody wants to interact with people. And for people that struggle with depression, people that struggle with anxiety, or even just people in general, that impacts our inner self. It deprives us of what our human nature needs, and that's love. And so we as a society are starting to distance ourselves from each other, and it's going to increase. The suicide rates are up tremendously high, and they are only climbing because we're not getting the social interaction and the love that we need from one another.
Do you think that this is going to have a lasting and permanent effect on people, or do you feel like they're going to, after this is all over and we can take our masks and hug each other again? Because I think hugs has a big part of it too.
Yes.
Will there still be residual effect from it, do you think?
I think that there will be effects of this probably for the next few years. But just like every pandemic, there's been hundreds of them over the course of human society and human existence. And we always bounce back in some way or another. So yes, there will be some long-lasting effects, but it's not going to last forever. It will get back to normal as different generations come into play. Our kids, they're not going to know anything about this, and our kids' kids. So eventually it will all go away. And then there'll be another something that happens in society. So this is an ongoing thing. It happens. We just need to be aware of it and how we can combat it, and so that we can become better people and individuals while we're here on this earth in this existence.
Well, that ties right into, so I took out a quote from the chapter you wrote, and you said, if you find yourself in this situation, stop and ask yourself who is in control. For me, it was the bull. Taking back confidence takes practice and in some cases time. Confidence comes from the accomplishments we have in our lives. Sometimes it comes from another person and their confidence in you. every morning write down 2 or 3 things that happened the day before that were a win, something that made you a better person. And I think that one of the benefits of us being in this situation and having to reevaluate our lives, because I'm sure you've heard it too. Everybody said, okay, I can say no now. I don't have to be always a yes, right?
Yep.
I always talk about you got to celebrate your successes from the day before. So when you're working with your clients, especially if they're going through something difficult, how do you instill that confidence in them, and how do you help them to learn that every day we have successes, even if it's just getting out of bed?
Mm-hmm.
How do you help them to understand to look at that side of it rather than the negative hole they can go down into?
So a lot of people don't even realize where or what they're doing for a success, a win in their life, for example. Some people that struggle with depression, getting out of bed and eating breakfast is a win. That is something that is a hard thing for them, and it's an accomplishment. Some people getting out of bed, having breakfast, running a marathon, all of that's easy for them. It depends on the person and the individual and their place in life right now. So that's why I was saying in my chapter to write down your wins, think about them, and bring them out. One of the problems that I have is I've always been an internal person. I've never shared my feelings. I've never talked about my struggles. I've never been able to open up to people and say, you know what, today is a bad day. I've had a terrible day. I always have a great day. It's always a great day. But that's not what people want to hear. People want to hear about you and your very authentic self. And so making people aware and being honest with themselves, positively and negatively, helps them realize where they're at so that they can improve. And it takes positive and negative things to do that. Absolutely.
That's profound. I couldn't agree with you more. So recently you formed up with Amy Twiggs, another one of our members of Speakers Without Borders, and you started Pro Mindset Academy. Tell us a little bit about that.
So Pro Mindset Academy, Amy Twiggs has been working on for years and years now. And as I approached her and told her I wanted to be involved, she was able to train me a little bit and bring me on as what we're calling a mental strength coach. And we actually have a lot of information online, and you can go online and access all of the information on depression, suicide, being positive, relationships, anything that you want. There's like 200 videos within the website that you can access.
Wow.
So we work mainly with athletes in helping them to be able to show up 100% when they're on the court or on the field, not letting their emotions get in the way of their performance.
Wow, that's fantastic. That's quite a diversity working with people that are possibly looking at suicide or going through some kind of a tragedy to working with athletes. But what a great way to help instill some of the skill sets that successful athletes have in your other clients. That's phenomenal. So I didn't realize until I reread your chapter yesterday that you are working on a series of children's books. Tell us about that.
Sure. So I've always been a storyteller, and I still do to this day tell stories to my little girls. I have 4 little girls, and we tell stories at night, and most of them are about an elephant, and her name is Ellie. And I relate Ellie's life to experiences that they are going through, hardships, positive experiences, things that are going on at school, things that are going on in the world. And I relate those stories to Ellie and her friends and how she deals with the situation. So I'm working on publishing a few different ones. I want to release them in a group of 5. So that will be ready and coming out soon. I mean, because the funnest thing is I mean, Ellie has she's helped an alligator who had bubble gum stuck in his teeth because he had chewed too much. And Ellie's been to space. Ellie's had a hardship at school on her first day of school. And so there's all kinds of different stories that we tell and interact with Ellie and all of her different friends.
Sounds like a good book for adults as well.
It's pretty fun. It's fun to read.
So you also, you mentioned, or I saw in your bio, that you are working on a foundation, the Pink Penguin Foundation. Mm-hmm. What is your goal with that?
Our goal with the Pink Penguin Foundation is to provide help to families that have been struck by a tragedy. And this tragedy is generally if the breadwinner is instantly or casualtily removed from the family. Years and years ago, I had a landscaping client of mine whose husband was drowned scuba diving, and and she was devastated. She had kids and everything, and she didn't know how to continue. And so with her help, we kind of teamed up and created this foundation to be able to step in and sponsor families that are experiencing a crisis like that.
Wow. Wow. I have a widow in my group that she has a foundation in Nigeria, and she does the very same thing, because over there there is absolutely no help anywhere to be found if you lose a spouse, whether it's the husband or the wife. And so she started this a few years ago, and the work she's doing, I'll have to send you a link, because she's amazing. Okay. Yeah. Well, I want to. Here's another quote from Ryan. It supposedly is one of his favorite quotes, and it is, "Never become so distracted by one thing that's going wrong that you forget and appreciate all that's going right." That's so true. So true. Well, Ryan, I have to tell you, I understand why you're such a busy man now.
Right.
And much success with the books, much success with Pro Mindset Academy and the foundation. Just congratulations on all of that. So what was the best part of writing your chapter for Leaders Without Borders, or I'm sorry, Leadership in Trying Times?
The best part about it was creating that memory of that story all over again. I went, and I talked to my dad about it and reenacted the whole thing in my mind, and the feelings, everything came back to me. Even the smell of the sagebrush while I was riding my horse through the sagebrush, it was all reenacted in my mind. And something that happened 30, maybe 32 years ago was brought to such big awareness for me. That was one of the funnest things in reading the story.
I call those crystalline moments. So crystalline means sparkly or clear, so they're moments of clarity. I had 3 when I was 10 years old. 2, they were all kind of very different. But the thing about it is, I can still tell you what the air smelled like. One of them, I was in a one-room schoolhouse, and there were hot dogs cooking on the oil stove. And the good news is, whenever that happens, and we talked about it, there's always a gift or an opportunity when you have those moments in your life.
Yeah.
And it's wonderful that you were able to go back and experience that again, because that just reinforces what you're doing today. And if you have an experience in your life that you've not gone back and looked at, why is that such a vivid memory? I mean, it could be something really tragic, or it could be something really, really wonderful. It could be an event, or it could be just a thought. And whatever those were, when I went back and looked at those 3 crystalline moments in my life, I found out that I had been looking for the opportunity for 50 years and didn't find it. So if you have any others out there, go back and take a look at them and figure out what those gifts or opportunities is, because that's how we move forward. That's how we take our next step, is by finding those gifts. So Ryan, I so appreciate you taking the time to come on and visit with me today. So if people want to get a hold of you, how do they do that?
So you can email me at ryan.palmer, positivepower@gmail.com, or you can call my office, which is 435-634-8863. And you can get a hold of me that way as well. So either one of those will be a great way to reach out to me. Or you can go on Facebook and just look me up.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I'll post the website for Pro Mindset Academy on this. Okay.
Perfect.
Well, thanks again for joining me, and I love having these conversations. Maybe we can do this again sometime. And if you have not picked up your copy of Leadership in Trying Times, it's available both on Kindle as well as hard copy, and soon, very soon, to come out in Audible.
Yeah.
Ryan and I are just blessed, as well as Amy, to be a part of that book, and it's a very powerful book of different ideas and things you can take away to be a much better leader when there's difficult times. And believe you me, we've got plenty of those going on right now. So go out there and get your copy. It's available on Amazon. And if you read it, I'm sure there'll be at least a few points you'll be able to take away from it. All right. Well, this ends another great interview with my Kick Butt Leadership interview series. And I will be back again with another one very soon. Everyone have a great day. Bye now. Thanks, Ryan.
Thank you.